I'm super excited about this next part. For anyone who doesn't know, if you go to Anchor FM and find the Sports Jerks, you can actually leave us your questions in audio format, and then that way we can talk about it and have some different content, for the episode. So today we had our first call in, Mark from Toronto, and here was his question.
Hey Dan and Josh, I know we're all big Blue Jays fans here, so I wanted to know whether you think the Blue Jays are ready to win now this season. There's obviously some big glaring needs at third base and starting pitching. There's some rumors flying around about a potential deal with the Cubs, Chris Bryant, Kyle Hendricks. Only it's going to cost us some big prospects. It could be Gurriel Jr., could be some other young guys. Do you think it's worth it for the Jays to sell out and go for it this year, or are we still looking for another few years from these young guys and see what they can do? Love the show, guys. Thanks a lot.
Thanks, Mark. I think that is a great question, and it's something that we've kind of talked about in the past.
Mm-hmm.
I know for me, I think we're seeing – I don't think it is the right time to sell out and try to go for a title right now. Like, we're kind of seeing it, right? Like, Simeon is on a one-year deal. He's kind of, maybe he has a great year, maybe he doesn't. There's a lot of uncertainty, like we talked about with like Vladdy. Where is he going to play? How are all these guys going to kind of coexist? We got a lot of young guys that are just, we don't fully know the makeup of this team yet, so I wouldn't want to. And I also don't think that it's in Shapiro's nature to kind of shell out without all of the information. So I think we are a year or two really away from that, but I could be wrong. I could see maybe middle of the season, we're playing above our heads. All the guys took a step up. The addition of these new assets like George Springer really to kind of take us to a next level. And then I could see them, assuming Trevor Bauer doesn't come, that maybe we make like a splash for a starting pitcher.
Yeah, no, I agree, and I don't think that the moves that they've made right now detract them or take away from the future, which is smart, right? They added George Springer for just money. They've added Marcus Semien for just money, and the trade that they have made so far has been prospects that are, of no to low risk on our end. Right. So I agree with you, Josh, that it's not exactly the right time to go to sell out, right? They are obviously all in because you don't give, George Springer that contract if you're not all in. But I like the term that you use, like, should they sell out? No, I don't think they should have quite like a, free for all, who do we get rid of, blue chip guys. I think they want to keep those blue chips because like George Springer said, he said this team is built to win and it's built to win for a long time. So if you look back to like 2015-16, the team was so exciting, right? With Bautista and Donaldson, right. You and I were even saying my mom was so into it. All of our moms were into it, man.
Encarnacion.
Yeah, right. Everyone's mom was watching Blue Jays baseball. Everybody and their mom, everybody and their brother, right? Everyone was watching it, and it was exciting. But at the same time, you always had that feeling there was no like longevity to it, right? You always knew it's like these guys are all 35, 36. Like, how long can this ride last? With this one, you're getting a different feel because they're building it in a smarter way, right? They built up that foundation. Now they're going into Rogers, bottomless pockets, and they're able to pay some players to complement and to bring that even further forward. And they're not expending significant prospect capital in the process. I do think there is something in the works that's a bit more significant right now. I do think so, because I think it would be foolish to think that they are only going to add, a couple guys to their lineup and then a Steven Matz to their rotation when the rotation is the biggest glaring weakness, right? So I do think that something is, cooking, something in the works for the rotation, something more impactful. But again, like, I would like for it to be a free agent like Taijuan Walker or like Paxton. I really wanted Masahiro Tanaka, who we talked about last week, and now it's been confirmed he's going back to Japan.
Yeah.
So
that was a sad one.
Sure. I would really like them to continue the free agent sort of way so that we don't have to expend prospect capital. But back to your point earlier, is that there is sort of like a gluttony of riches going on here in terms of like an overcrowded outfield, right? And now potentially not enough room in the infield if we're talking about Vlad moving around and where's Biggio going to play. So you get into that territory when you don't make those big blockbuster deals, but I think that they're doing it in a sustainable way. So again, this kind of goes into my point. My footnote here is, unbelievably, I don't think, despite all the moves that they're making right now, I still don't think they're a playoff team. So no, I don't think they're going to sell out.
You don't think they're a playoff team as we speak right
No,
now?
and this is after all the moves. You can check the date mark on this video. You can check. I still don't think they're a playoff team, and not that they're bad. They're great. The team looks good. They're well built. I love Mark Shapiro. The team is full of young talent, ready to compete for a long time. But I still don't think, because we had such a flurry of high impact moves so quickly, I think everyone's expectations are, through the roof now, as is marketing as it goes. But I still don't think that with that rotation as it is.
Yeah, the rotation's terrible.
Right? But if they add, we are still just only 1 or 2, maybe 1.5 pieces away. So that's my take, and I'm really happy that Mark reached out with that, because that Anchor FM feature where you can leave a little bit of a note like that or leave a question, that makes it so much more interactive. I get so tired of hearing my own voice that it's great to hear somebody else's once in a while. So thank you so much, Mark. That's awesome, man.
For sure. And another thing before we move on, I think 2022, the free agent class is insane. You got Lindor, Arenado, Verlander, Greinke, Kershaw, Chris Bryant, Freddie Freeman, Trevor Story, and I'm honestly like, there are at least 20 other like star-studded dudes. Obviously, a lot of them will re-sign. I don't think Kershaw is coming to Toronto anytime soon. But what it tells me is that there's going to be a lot of movement this year in baseball, because if you have the inclination that one of those guys isn't going to sign, then very likely he's going to get moved, right? Like we saw that with Lindor. Lindor, like the Indians knew he's not, or the Cleveland baseball team knew he's not going to sign, so they got rid of him. I think we're going to see that. So if the opportunity arises to kind of get, a rental player for this year, I think that they jump on it. I will disagree. I do think that we are a playoff team, but then I will agree. Mark, thanks for the question, buddy.